Sometimes when you're doing a design project early on, maybe in the first or second design phase, you might come up with some really good concepts that the client likes. So a sketch like this, and they'll really like it. And before they want to move forward, they might want to see what it looks like. And in that case, you're going to want to make what I call a mock-up. So it doesn't have any electronics, it doesn't work. It just functions as a visual representation of what this final thing could look like and kind of feel like. And that's what this video is all about.
My name is Eric Strebel. I'm an industrial designer. Welcome to my channel about product design and making. Alfred backpack hanger in stainless steel and aluminum, designed by me, holds your backpack, lets you charge your phone, holds your keys, super versatile. So I'm packing up some here that were recently sold. Thanks for those of you who've purchased recently. It really helps support the channel. Did you know this episode's sponsor, PCBWay, offers sheet metal fabrication services that can fold your 3D CAD into durable sheet metal parts? They're able to laser cut metal up to 10 millimeters thick and bend up to 6 millimeters in material in a brake press using aluminum, copper, stainless steel, and low carbon steel. Then bead blast, anodize, powder coat, or chromate finish your creation. Check them out for your next sheet metal fab project. Link in the description below. So the quickest way to communicate an idea is through drawing. And this is the standard tool that industrial designers use to communicate ideas and concepts to other people. It's the universal language. And this is the sketch that was done for this watch band concept. And basically it's a altimeter, an O2 sensor, and a temperature sensor, and it would go on any watch to give you additional information. Now that we have a concept that everybody likes, the next thing I'm going to do to visualize this thing is I'm going to 3D print a watch. And in this case, it's a Galaxy Android watch. It has 22 millimeters in between the barbs on the ends of the watch. This was free to download and available on the internet. There's lots of resources for these kind of things in the World Wide Web, of course. I printed it out. It's 2 pieces. Let's clean it up and then we'll super glue it together. So we'll just have a basic visual representation of a watch. Could be a smartwatch, could be a traditional sort of watch. It doesn't really matter. This band can go on any watch. I have no idea why this watch would come in 2 parts, but I need to super glue the 2 halves together. And here I put a little kicker on, and then I super glue the little top plate onto the watch to complete it and make it whole. The 3D print will need a little bit of cleanup, specifically where the band attaches. So I'm going to use a 1 millimeter drill bit and a pin vise. And if you've never seen a pin vise before, this is something that jewelers or watchmakers would use to drill a hole by hand, just like this. So I'm just cleaning up those holes so that way when we attach the watch bands into the 3D printed watch, it fits nice and the holes are clean. If you're interested in a set of pin vices, I will link to some on Amazon in the link in the description below. They're pretty handy, useful tools to have. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use Fusion 360 here to make a 22 by 90 millimeter rectangle, essentially a box. And this is what the laser is going to use to cut out our 6 millimeter EVA foam. The laser has fundamentally changed my model making. Things are square and straight, and I don't have to do anything. Fantastic tool. Next, I'm going to take that piece of 6 millimeter EVA foam and I'm going to clamp it into my drill press, and I'm going to do some basic machining on the edge. I'm going to machine out just a little slot where the USB-C recharging port would go, and then I'm just going to kiss the edges to show where the 3 sensors would go on the body of this band. when you're making a mock-up like this, using off-the-shelf parts is oftentimes the fastest, quickest, easiest way to put something like this together. So I'm using these off-the-shelf bands just like it. Yeah, I don't know where they come up with this stuff. And I'm going to modify these two bands onto the body of the watch sensor here. So I'm going to cut a little notch on the bottom of the foam, and that's where we're going to attach one end of the watch band, right? I'm trying to make my life easier, simpler, quicker, so I'm using these off-the-shelf components so I don't have to model everything by hand. Just easier. Gotta think smarter, not harder. A little modification on the watch band here so that I can make it look like the original, similar to the sketch, and have enough room to attach without seeing those holes, because I don't really want to see those holes. They're not part of my concept. I don't want to hide those. For a mock-up like this, we want to make it pretty sturdy, so we're going to glue the two pieces together with some contact cement. And I'm going to put some contact cement on the watch band and then some on the foam, right? These are two dissimilar materials that we need to bond together so that they stay together, because ultimately we want to put this on our wrist and we want to try it out. Lots of people are potentially going to try this on, and we don't want this thing to come apart, and we want it to get together. Even if it only gets used for a couple of days, it might get used by multiple people. Additionally, I'm going to sew it together here on my industrial sewing machine so that it really stays together and there's no chance of it coming apart. I'm going to trim off the little thread ends that are left over, and now we're going to cut the band to the correct length. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors here. You could use an X-Acto blade if you wanted to. And we're going to prep the other side of the band here for the Velcro adjusting strap that goes on the other part of this watch band. Again, I'm going to cut away a little tiny piece here so that we can attach the watch band here. And we're going to use the purchased Velcro watch band. We're going to singe the edges, right? We don't want them to fray or come apart in any kind of way, especially once the threads are in there. We want to lock this together. We're going to use a little bit of contact cement here, just like we did on the other side, and then on the piece of foam, and we're going to bond the two halves together. We want to make sure that this stays together so that whoever tries this on and it stays on, and we don't have to worry about it being delicate with it or anything like that, because a lot of times clients, it looks real to them and they think that it's real, and they use it just like any other product, and they're not careful with stuff like this or whatever. So you got to build this stuff kind of bulletproof, because you just never know. The worst thing would be if it comes apart and then people can't use it or try it. That would defeat the whole purpose of the thing. So you got to kind of build this stuff pretty bulletproof, kind of overkill. All right, put those two together with the contact cement. I'm going to come back with the sewing machine, and we're going to sew that nice and tight. Again, sort of double security, and you really got to push this through the machine here because of the fabric underneath where the Velcro is. It really doesn't like to be grabbed, at least on my machine, so I really got to force it through. But it works out, and I get a good sew, certainly good enough for this mock-up. Trim everything off, clean it, and I usually singe those ends. This is a nylon thread. Here I'm taking probably a 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm just softening up the edges to make it a little bit more realistic, like a real product would kind of be, and to make it more like the finished product could potentially be. Last, I'm going to use some liquid chrome here, and I'm just going to dab that onto where I machined those little round circles to show where the sensors would be. This mock-up is black, and it's hard to sort of see things, and we want to let people know where these sensors would be. Let's put this thing together so we can try it out. So on Android watches, this is very simple. It has a very traditional kind of a pin with a little latch that you pull back that's spring-loaded, and that's why we had to clean up those holes. We want to make sure that that latches and catches really good. We do that on the one side, and then we're going to do that for the other side of the watch. We'll pop that in there, pull the little spring-loaded pin back, and put that on nice and secure, check it, and then we can try it on. The mock-up's now complete. You can see and hold and touch this thing and show it to your client, and they can get a better idea of what this thing is and be able to visualize this thing. So here's the sketch on the left done digitally, and the mock-up here I'm putting on my hand to show you how it fits and adjusts. And I will release a separate video of the sketch, the digital sketch as well. And that's the final mock-up. Stay tuned for a nice hockey goal by me. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Make sure to hit the bell so you get notifications every time I have a new video. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links in the description below and on the channel page. Rock on. Don't forget to check out the t-shirts and hoodies in the merch shelf below. Click here to check out some of the other design and making videos that I have that you might enjoy.